Welcome to VAL'S Live Podcast. Real news, real talk, real views. Join us weekly for social, political, and religious commentaries, analytically dissecting viral news and more. When they mix it, we'll fix it. Unorthodox and unfiltered views. This is VAL'S Live, the podcast edition. Saturdays, 7 p.m. Watch it live in Jamaica on Hype TV and across the Caribbean. Stream it live on Facebook, YouTube. Don't miss it. Welcome to VAL'S Live Podcast. Real news, real talk, real views. Join us weekly for social, political, and religious commentaries, analytically dissecting viral news and more. When they mix it, we'll fix it. Unorthodox and unfiltered views. This is VAL'S Live, the podcast edition. Saturdays, 7 p.m. Watch it live in Jamaica on Hype TV and across the Caribbean. Stream it live on Facebook, YouTube. Don't miss it. All right, guys, welcome. Good evening, good night, and welcome to another episode of VAL'S Live, the podcast edition. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Also, thank you guys tuning in on Facebook and also on YouTube. Thank you guys who are watching in on Hype TV, how you picture entertainment in Jamaica and across the Caribbean. This is what's happening for tonight is the VVL podcast, the use of Molly in Jamaica by Jamaicans and Jamaican entertainers. There is a new demon, of course, tonight. It says, is Molly and ecstasy the new demon that's taking over Jamaica? We'll be finding out more about this. I don't call it, some people call it the new age drug, but it's been around for a while, you know what I mean? So we'll be getting some information. Of course, female artist shares near-death experience after experimenting with Molly. So she'll be in the building tonight to talk to us about her experience. Also, do remember that tonight's show is sponsored by Jamaica Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And of course, guys, you know the drill. Of course, I see Destiny Israel in the building, of course. But do remember that tonight's show is sponsored by Jamaica Coalition Against Domestic Violence. In fact, it's been a very sad week for us. But hey, have been, notified about the shooting that actually took place in Texas, and the boy, I tell you guys, what a way to go out. Now, it is said that police waited nearly an hour outside the school before they actually breached a barricade that was set up by the gunman. And as you can see, it is very, very, very devastating. And also a JLP counselor caretaker was also shot and killed by gunmen in Jamaica. So it's just a sad week. Welcome, guys. Welcome so much. I'm your boy Andrew Val, and tonight again we'll be discussing this. And of course, we want y'all to share this live right about now, because that's what we're discussing tonight. The new demon. Is it a new demon? I mean, I always said that there's a demon in dancehall anyway. There's always demon in Jamaica anyway, when it's politically, you know what I mean? And when it's even in the form of entertainment. So guys, we need to discuss this. Of course, thanks to our very special guest for tonight, Destiny Israel. Thank her so much for coming on, being so brave, and, is able to muster the strength and, of course, to tell her story about her experimenting with Molly. So go ahead and share this live, guys. Go ahead and share the live. I'm Andrew Val. I'm in the building. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate you guys coming in on tonight's show. Thank you to all our viewers on Hype TV. how you picture entertainment in Jamaica and across the Caribbean as well. Please go ahead and share this live link. But anyhow, here is what's coming up on tonight's show.
I'm going to eat some food, people, and take them out.
Are Jamaicans and Jamaican entertainers becoming Molly heads? Do they know the adverse effects of taking Molly? Female artist now turned Christian Destiny Israel, formerly Destiny Sparta, tells her story and shares her experience with experimenting with the new age drug Molly.
I was in a social setting with friends and I was drinking and I was overdosed on Molly and I went through a psychosis. I almost lost my mind and I was hearing voices telling me to kill myself. Um, Voices telling me to walk out in traffic and I didn't do that. I never walk out in the traffic, but I went down to Kingston Harbor and when I was there I actually jumped.
I'm going to eat some food, people, and take them out.
Is there a Molly craze in Jamaica among teenagers and dancehall newcomers? Dancehall newcomers Skang and Navas openly sing about popping Molly. Is there a Molly craze in Jamaica, like that of the crack cocaine era of the 80s and 90s? A lot of top reggae and dancehall entertainers from the 80s and 90s sang about the dangers of using crack cocaine. It was also rumored that a lot of prominent entertainers were experimenting with the addictive drug. The use of methamphetamine, aka Molly or ecstasy, by Jamaicans and Jamaican entertainers. All right, so that's what we're focusing on tonight. And of course, you don't know, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Tonight's show is sponsored by Jamaica Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Their helpline is 1-800-598-7607. That's 1-800-598-7607. You can also check out their website at www.jcadv.org. Tonight, it's a very interesting show. But before we get into that, I just want to, send our condolences to the family of the JLP councillor caretaker who was shot and killed on Marcus Garvey Drive this just over, I think, few days ago on Thursday. It is also information surfaced that it could be a hit. Also, if you can remember, I think a little while back, this councillor caretaker was charged for murder, but he was acquitted. So we're not sure if that is where it's stemming from. In fact, he had also made a video, a few months ago, and he was talking about a political conflict between him and his rival, councillor caretaker in his division from the People's National Party. So it's early days yet. The police, they're still doing their investigation. But of course, we just wanted to send, our condolences to the family. Welcome. I see you in the building, Natalie Rowe. Thank you so much. Destiny Israel, I see you as well. So I'm gonna start out the show. Usually would have our social views, but we have a very special show tonight, and I'm going to be inviting our very special guest. So stand by to join us. Destiny, I'm going to invite you in right now. I'm going to add you in. Welcome to VAL'S Views Live, the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for stopping by. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
All right, cool. So, just kind of for our viewers who might have not, been introduced to you and your music, you have entered the Magnum Kings and Queens of dancehall back in the day. You have become a big, one of the top female acts, in dancehall. But you have recently become a Christian. That much I'll give them. Give them the rest. Israel.
Yeah. So I was second on Magnum Kings and Queens. The second season, I entered. Yeah. After I entered, that was really my stepping stone into dancehall. And after that, I was working with my brother, Cuda Wiz, at Sniper Studio. Tommy used to go to that same studio, Tommy Lee Sparta. And, he always said whenever he got his break, he would put me on. And, later he got his break and he did just what he said. And I was signed to him for 3 years, branched off, was doing my own thing. And 2020, I had a life-changing experience that led me to the feet of the cross, and I just gave my life to the Lord that time, and I
The rest
haven't
is
looked
history.
back.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
Molly was
So we're going to be talking about your journey and what led you to actually, become a Christian and being baptized. But before that, we have to take it back a little bit. And tonight our topic is mainly surrounding your experience, and you have inspired us to create this particular discussion for tonight's show. We
Mhm,
weren't sure what we were going to discuss for this week, and because you came on our entertainment club show, I just feel like it is only fitting for us to actually, invite you on so that we can discuss this. But
mhm,
we're talking about the Molly craze in Jamaica. There is actually a craze in Jamaica. It is nothing new because even so, it is not. I don't want people to think that it's the newcomers in terms of entertainers,
mhm,
that are actually partaking in what I call a demon type of activity. In the 80s, we have seen where prominent dancehall artists. It is rumored that even Tiger, Shabba Ranks, sorry, not Shabba, but Ninja Man, rather. People don't
mhm,
mix me up. It is rumored that
mhm,
a couple prominent artists were actually experimenting with crack cocaine. So it is not unique to this era. It is not unique to this set or this crop of artists. You yourself being a female artist, I mean, we're gonna definitely dissect and discuss that. But I have a video that I want to play from a doctor who kind of actually take us back in time and kind of give us the genesis, kind of let us understand the genesis as to how Molly was introduced to our people. In fact, when was it first introduced? And I'm not talking about Molly in particular. I'm talking about MDMA. So
mhm.
I'm gonna share this little bit of video for you guys, and then when we come back, we discuss it further. So let's take a look at this, and then when we come back, we discuss it a little
I'm Dr.
further.
Frida. Molly. That name sounds real cute and harmless. But who is Molly? What is Molly? Molly is the slang for the illegal synthetic drug, also known as ecstasy and MDMA. It is a stimulant and it causes a high with feelings of euphoria, love, intense emotional warmth.
Mhm.
It can also cause heart attacks, seizures, brain hemorrhages, kidney failure, and death. The real name for Molly, MDMA, is 3,4 methylene dioxymethamphetamine. Does it still sound harmless? It's not. Molly has been around since 1914 when it was first introduced as an appetite suppressant. And over a
Mm.
century later, it is still relevant. In fact, it's kept relevant in lots of pop culture songs, like in Miley Cyrus's song, We Can't Stop, Dancing with Miley. And even in the hit song by Jay-Z and Alicia Keys, Empire State of Mind, there's a line that says, MDMA got you feeling like a champion. And of course, there's that Future song, Mask Off, where he's talking about Percocet, Molly Percocet, which also gets into the fact that a lot of times Molly is mixed with other drugs. And with this recent Jussie Smollett scandal, it has been alleged, I don't know it to be true, but it has been alleged that Jussie Smollett also partakes in Molly. With that, as always, a lot of my nosy, my curious patients and friends have been asking me about Molly because folks seem to think that it's just cool and that it's harmless. But Molly can be fatal. So in today's video, I am going to discuss Molly.
All right, cool. So let's just stop it right there. Destiny. And
Mhm.
we're I have another video that I want to play. And it is very interesting because this other video, it's definitely talking about the effects of it. And I want to just play it and
Mhm.
then can discuss. And not only in pop culture when it comes to American music, but also in our Jamaican music, where we have seen even Skeng and Skilly, they sang about it when me pop Molly, everything drop or whatever. And then I see Intense. I hear that Intense did it in his song for Yahoo Boys as well. And also Skeng did it again with another artist when they said Pop Molly. And they had a music video showing all of this. It's not only in the pop culture, but also in the dancehall culture. It's funny because back in the 80s, when they used to sing about crack cocaine, it was more trying to deter people from,
Mhm.
taking it. I can't recall hearing a song in the 80s or 90s glorifying and encouraging people to take crack cocaine. But in this day and age, we hear artists influencing, encouraging, and even promoting the experiment encouraging teenagers and young adults to experiment with this Molly type of hard drugs. And it's very, 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 very serious. So I'm going to play this clip and then we get into our main discussion. So let's take a listen to this. This is pretty much telling us the effects of Molly. So here we go. Let's take a listen, guys.
Molly historically was a term that was given as sort of a softer term for what was thought to be pure ecstasy or methylene deoxymethamphetamine. And so the idea was that it was a drug that could be taken by people who wanted to have a euphoria and maybe get high, go to parties and stuff like that. But without the thought of having serious side effects that were related to things like cocaine and methamphetamines. The issue that we've come into recently now is that Molly, what is being billed as Molly by drug dealers to their users, isn't the pure Molly that was initially billed back, a decade ago. It's now thought to be a co-formulation of a multiple different adulterants, which could range anywhere from caffeine to talcum powder to cocaine, even to other amphetamine-like substances. And so the thought is that, it's just become another one of these quote unquote designer drugs that's just being marketed to a new population of younger kids, ages, typically 16 to 24. The user really has no idea what they're ingesting. They have an idea. They think that they're taking in something pure, which is, like I said, just going to lead to the positive effects that they were hoping for. However, it's because of the co-formulated adulterants, things like amphetamines and other methamphetamines and cocaine-like products or caffeine products, they're leading to things like elevated heart rate and blood pressure, elevated body core temperature, which have their own sequelae and downstream side effects, leading to muscle breakdown and kidney failure and electrolyte abnormalities, which can lead to seizures, bleeding in your brain. And again, in the severe instances, people are dying from some of these, terminal sequelae. People who are going to be ingesting any kind of substances need to be smart about it. They need to realize that what they're being billed as sold may not truly be that. The individuals that are using these products just need to frankly be aware that Molly is not the Molly they thought it was before. It is not pure, or it absolutely has the potential to not be pure, and they should expect to have, bad side effects.
All right. They should expect to have bad side effects. And that's where we segue into your experience. But first, did you know all of this before experimenting with Molly? I mean, I'm sure you know now, but when you first actually was introduced to it, did you have any knowledge of what it was?
Yes, but to my knowledge, it was pure MDMA.
Okay.
I didn't know that it was cut with other stuff.
Oh, so it was introduced to you as pure MDMA.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part about it, because we have experts who said that kids are thinking it is a pure MDMA. And I'm gonna ask, and I'm not judging you, but why would you want to actually take MDMA in the first place?
I don't know. I guess curiosity. I don't know. Because this wasn't my first time doing it. Like years ago, I tried ecstasy several times and it had no effects on me. And I was told that it's basically the same thing. And I took it, nothing bad happened. I felt a high. The same thing that he said, you feel this euphoria. That's exactly what I felt. But anytime I took it, I felt happy. I just had this overwhelming joy and love inside, and I just want to hug everybody and love everybody. That's how I felt, you know. But
Yeah, yeah. I
that
mean,
last time,
all right. Before we get into the last time, you kind of touch on how long you have been using it, but you said you experimented with ecstasy a few years ago,
mm-hmm.
and when you first started, using, well, experimented with Molly, how long ago that was, and for how long were you experimenting?
um, probably like 2015, 16, sometime there.
Oh, so you just started getting into it. So it wasn't introduced to you as you got into the music industry.
Oh
It wasn't
no, no,
right,
no, no, no. And
right.
even before the music industry, I took it before even not Molly,
Molly, oh,
but
the ecstasy
ecstasy.
side of it. Right, right,
Yes,
right, right.
before the entertainment industry.
Who introduced you to it?
Um,
Or
to
how
what,
did you get,
Molly?
yeah, how did you get in, to access, to purchase, or somebody share it with you?
No, no, I'm not at liberty to say that. I don't want to get anybody in problems.
Well, I mean, okay. So was it a
Yeah, but
friend? Was it a
friend,
colleague? Were you
yeah,
at a
friend,
party? Okay,
friend.
okay. I mean, yeah.
Mm,
Because sometimes, it's friend who introduced friends to this. And I'm
right.
going to play a video of a social media influencer, and you're going to be
Mm,
shocked at what this influencer planned to do to a friend. I'm going to play that video a little later on, but I just wanted to get a little backstory so that our viewers can understand, how you were introduced to it. Because usually when we, I mean, I have tried ecstasy,
mm-hmm.
honestly, maybe 20 years ago, but I didn't try a full tablet. What I
Okay.
tried was half of it. The person who introduced me to it, I am being very frank, and I always try to make
Mm-hmm.
this a safe space for our guest, so that I'm not judging you. The viewers, they can judge, you know what I mean? But at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, that's just their choice. But for
Mm-hmm.
me as a host, I'm trying to make you get as comfortable as possible. Of course, we're not going to force you to call names, you know what I mean? But at least to be open and speak with us, because
Mm-hmm.
this is supposed to educate our viewers and even educate parents to even investigate if their kids are experimenting with this thing. I didn't feel no effect from the half of ecstasy that I took. I didn't
Right.
feel no effect. I was told it's going to make me drink a lot of water. Maybe the person who usually experiment with it, that's their side effect, but I didn't feel
Mm-hmm.
anything. I never felt high. And that just was me. Of course, I was scared, hence taking just half. So, I've never experimented with crack and cocaine, but I've done herbs. You know what I mean? I've done
Mm-hmm.
the grabber. I've done, you name it. I've, me drink, all of that. I smoke
Yeah.
cigarettes. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying that it was somebody who introduced me to it, and not
Mm-hmm.
that I've seen it and to say, hey, or I've read it up on the internet and I've said, hey, I want to try this thing. So usually it's in a social setting that
Right.
we were sometimes introduced to these types of substances. And as much as I don't call marijuana drugs, I don't. A lot of people would classify it as drugs, and a gateway drug, I don't, because it's herbs. But when you're going to mix, certain substances, and it's a combination of different things, even bath salt, even house salt, even baking soda, you know what I mean? So people don't really know what they're ingesting when they take these street mollies. Now, dancehall is becoming, I think, saturated with it in terms of the young acts. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
you're a dancehall artist, or we're a dancehall artist, a secular artist. You're now a gospel artist. You have also done a song, giving your testimony about your experience. Let's talk about the euphoric feeling. When you first take it, was that your first experience, or it took a while? And how long before the effect kicks in for you?
It took probably 15 to 20 minutes,
Mhm.
and I felt it. Mm.
And how, explain to me, how do you feel? Do you feel a little bit highly sexual, sexually kind of get there, where, I don't want
Well,
to use the H word on TV, but I don't know if you know what I
not
mean.
necessarily. If I'm in whatever mood that I'm in, it would
Mhm.
heighten that mood.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah,
if you're happy and in a rave, then it will bring you, over the moon and back.
right.
You know, as you say, it makes you want to hug everybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You want to bring a
I
happy
love you.
feels.
I hug them and tell them I love them, that kind of thing.
All right. Like, how would you normally do it? Would it be in a setting where somebody brings a bag full, or you would take it to yourself? How do you normally come by it?
Like if it's around, if it's around, and I've bought it before,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
it all depends.
Okay. So usually men, we tend to get carried away when and some men spike the females and drink and so on and so forth. How, like, the men, if they were to take it, whilst you guys are socializing, how would they react, or how would they treat you? Would they treat you any different? You know what I mean?
No.
Have you ever experienced anything less? So the men actually had self-control whenever so it's not something that would make you want to sexually harass or
No,
abuse
no,
somebody based on
no.
your experience, right?
Based on my experience, no.
Right,
I can
right,
only speak for me, no.
right, right. So you thought it was something socially cool,
You're right.
and that's why you partake in it for
Mhm.
such a long time. Let's talk about now. Why did you stop taking it? What happened?
Oh, well, but one thing about it, you see, when you're coming off that high, you get depressed. I was feeling that after a while. I started to feel depressed anytime the high subsided. But that last time I went through a psychosis, and literally I was going mad. Like, I was hearing voices, I was hallucinating, and the voices were telling me to kill myself. Um, yeah, as I said last night, I was hearing voices telling me to walk out in traffic, to just end my life. And I went down to Kingston Harbor and jumped, but luckily I couldn't sink. I kept
All right, but
floating.
hold on. Let's chop it up a bit. Let's
Mm-hmm.
chop it up a bit. That night when you
Mm-hmm.
experienced this, right? Because it would come off as if all of this happened in one day, or in a couple
It
hours.
it was like a day. It was a day.
All right, so hold on. So
I
let's
took
take us through the
pills
timeline. Hold
and
on. So let's take us through that timeline. So you were out drinking with friends,
yeah,
and
drinking, popping
right? Were you
Molly.
smoking herbs as well? Weed?
No.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
so you weren't just the Molly and drinking.
And the alcohol, and it was Jack Daniels.
Right.
You
Okay.
know that's
Okay.
very strong.
Mhm. All right. Cool. So that 15 minutes of it kicking in, that's when you started experiencing.
No, no, it was long after, long after. Like I was doing it during the day, but it was in the night that,
Mhm.
in the late night that I felt that feeling.
All right. So the first time the feeling came on, it told you to do what? Or what the
All
voice
right,
in
I
your head
was
told you to
hearing voices. Whenever somebody passed, I could hear. I thought they were saying something about me. I was feeling paranoid. You know, I was just hearing everybody that I passed. All right, I had a suspicious feeling about something and somebody in my environment. And whenever somebody passed, it I could hear like they were saying something about that situation. And the voice is now telling me, say, go kill myself. It was just weird. It was crazy. I felt like I was going mad.
Mm, mm, interesting. All right. So let's talk about you going to Kingston Harbor now.
Hmm.
Yeah. What happened?
Well, I went there and I sat on a ledge, and I was there, and the voices, same thing was happening, same thing, the voices talking to me. And I jumped, saying, "Ain't it right here? Just take your life." And I jumped, and I couldn't sink. I kept floating to the top of the water. And afterwards, when I came out, it was somebody who came over to me, and he was talking to me. And they because on my phone was destroyed, because my phone was in the water and everything, so my phone got destroyed, everything. So they asked for my mother's number, and it was my mom who they called to come for me from Montego Bay.
So hold on. So you how did you get to Kingston Harbor?
I took a bus. I took a bus from Halfway Tree, and it brought me downtown, and I just walked down there.
So you were aware that you left your house.
I
You
wasn't at my house that day. I was
okay.
at a hotel.
All right, so you left that hotel, went to
Mhm.
halfway tree, jump on a bus, get off the stop. Because what I'm trying to do is to put the pieces together in terms of does it come on and off? Is it an intermittent thing where because you were cognizant of what you were doing in terms of jumping on a bus, going downtown. So that's what I'm trying to understand.
And I don't, the funny part of it, I believe that God allowed me to remember these things because some people go through a psychosis and they don't know what happened.
Hmm. Hmm.
They don't know what happened. But I think this was something that God wanted me to remember. So I know, so I not go back there.
Whoa, whoa,
Mhm.
wow, wow. All right, just let me do this quick shout out. All right, guys. So we're gonna run for a quick break. Please stick and stay because we have part two. We have Destiny Israel in the house, and she's talking about her experience with experimenting with Molly. And of course, tonight's show is sponsored by Jamaica Coalition Against Domestic Violence. We're going for a quick break. We'll be right back. It's Child's Month, and listen up to the children because children's voices matter. We'll be right
This
back.
episode is sponsored by the Jamaica Coalition Against Domestic Violence.
I'm mad you want mad me here today?
No, mommy.
Watch me, I am fed up of you. I bet me kill you in here before you kill me. Your mother is here. You're coming just like you kill me. Stop that people yard. I'm tired of you now. I'm fed up of you. You're awful man.
Dear Mama, I understand that you hit me because you are frustrated and because of what I do. Please remember that I have feelings, and as a kid, I do get frustrated too.
A special message from JCADV in recognition of Child Month 2022, a proud sponsor of VAL'S Life podcast.
All right, so welcome back, guys, and that's our sponsor for this month of May. Of course, their helpline is 1-800-598-7607. That's 1-800-598-7607. You can also check them out. Check out their website at www.jcadv.org and report any form of abuse, whether it's against a spouse or children. Go ahead and call them. They will be able to assist you. Thank you guys so much. So tonight we're discussing the use of Molly by Jamaicans and Jamaican entertainers. Our very special guest for tonight is Destiny Israel, formerly Destiny Sparta. So guys, yes, she's in the building. Shelling Shells, I see you backstage. Just let me know when you want to come on camera, if you're going to come on camera, so I can bring you up so that you can partake in this discussion. All right, guys. So before the break, you were saying that you were in and out of it in terms of conscious and being in and out of the psychosis.
I wasn't in and out. I was in a
Experience.
full blown psychosis. But
But
I'm saying that it took a while. All right. You see, say from 1 to 6.
mm,
I wasn't going through that. Like from one, it wasn't even one. From before that, I was going hard. Um I was going hard. Yeah, but the feeling didn't come on. That feeling did not come on until in the night. You understand?
okay. So
Yeah.
you
So that
feel as if
paranoia, that whole thing did not come affect me until in the night.
because you actually took too much, you think?
Too much. And then mixed with the alcohol.
Usually, how much would you quote unquote street jargon pop? How much would you pop at a time?
Oh my
One,
God.
two, 1, 2. I mean, I don't know.
I can't even remember. I did a lot. Like whenever I felt like I came up, I came down, I would just take another. I
Yeah,
was doing half. Then the last one, I remember taking the last one was a purple one, and that was a whole one that I did, and that
So
was it.
so they're color coded and they have um symbols on them
Some of
or
them,
certain
yeah.
printed images, you know. So one is more, I think, potent than the other. You think? Because you say you took the purple one and that's when, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess as the person said, the doctor who spoke said some
Mhm.
of them are not pure. So I don't know if that one was what was in that one.
So you might have some of them that was not as strong as the ones that you'd usually take, and you probably just happen for, take one where kind of,
Mm,
you know, give you that side effect that caused you to have the psychosis. All right. So
mm.
after you went to Kingston Harbor, you said you jumped off in there. What happened? Take me through that experience. Why? I mean, you're very fortunate, because I don't really use the word lucky, but you're very fortunate to be alive today. Who
Right.
saved you?
I God saved me. God saved me. I can't swim. Um, and I was just there floating. So I said, God saved me, nobody but God.
Float.
Nobody but God.
So you weren't sinking to the bottom. You were there.
No, I couldn't go down. I tried. I was like, what is this? And I tried to go like this to go down, and I just kept floating.
And who
I
took
just
you out of the
kept
water?
floating. I came out, I crawled up on some rocks, climbed up on some rocks. I got some cuts and thing on my foot. Hmm.
Interesting. And your mom had to come all the way from Montego Bay.
Yeah.
How did you get home after that?
She brought me home.
So
My mom came.
you hold on. So you waited at the waterfront until your mom.
No, they some police came and they held on to me and they took me around to a headquarters and they just kept me there until my mom came.
And they didn't check you into the hospital?
No, I was telling them that my head and I was actually telling them that I wanted to go to a hospital, but no, they just kept me until my mom came. But you know
Really?
what? I'm happy that they didn't, because probably when they would have given me some injection or something that would have made it even worse. So
Okay, okay. But I find it strange though, after someone who attempted suicide, and then did they, I mean, obviously they knew you were in the water, because I mean you'd have been,
right, I was right.
soaked. So I mean, I really just can't wrap my mind around it. And that's just how police work in Jamaica. But as you say, fortunately for you, they didn't take you to the hospital and put you on a psych ward, and then you would have been injected with whatever God he knows that would have
Whatever.
probably made it worse. Because I've seen people that actually, you know, have been treated that way and they came
Mm-hmm.
out worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
What happened after your mom came and took you home?
She brought me home and she blended a lot of like um herbs and green juice, and every day she would just let me drink green juices.
Right. So
Yeah,
so your mom kind of brought you back.
right. But even
Mhm.
then, I felt different. Even my head felt different. Like
When
there
you see,
was something. It felt like there was something on my brain, like something wrapped on my brain, squeezing my brain. That's how I felt for a while.
and you've never gone to the doctor to try and find out.
I didn't go to the doctor. Hold on, I'm getting emotional.
Okay, all right, take your time.
I didn't go to the doctor, but it was months after that I knew that it was something spiritual that was going on with me. I was telling you that one Saturday night when my mom was praying for me and she played the Cindy Trim prayer. Whenever she touched the prayer points about witchcraft, I started to convulse. And the following day, when I went to church, I got deliverance, and that feeling left. and that addiction, that wanting for the alcohol, for I didn't take Molly again after that, but I took fentanyl, which made me high. I didn't want that. I didn't want anything after that. I was just freed.
Take your time.
Yeah.
So so it's not 100% Molly the cause of probably you attempting suicide. You feel like it is something bigger than the Molly. I mean, it did kind of contribute to it, but you think
Definitely
spiritually there was
contributed.
going on.
Like, it definitely contributed. There was just a lot going on. There was a
Because
lot going on.
because in your song you said that if people don't believe in Obia, it is real.
Hmm.
So you want to speak more on that? Do you feel like you were being set up? People were hating on you? What was your experience with that?
And that's why I said that it was, I knew definitely that that was the case when during the prayer, when she hit all the prayer points about witchcraft and curses. That's when I would, it wasn't even me reacting, whatever entity that was inside of me, that was, it was being irritated.
Hmm.
And that's how I knew. And then even after, like, I do get dreams. If I go on a fast, I went on a fast, and I went on a fast and I said, Father, I just want you to reveal certain things to me. And him reveal it. So I know that things were definitely going on.
Oh, well. How did your friends react after hearing your story?
Um, like they didn't, it was unbelievable to them.
Hmm.
You know, I didn't even talk to much people about it. Like, who I was around, they didn't know where I left to. They didn't know where I was,
Hmm.
and I told them that, hey, this is what happened. But, I have another friend who I spoke, one friend who I spoke to in depth about it. He said, Destiny, you're not no sense, much people go over there so and drown. And I was talking to somebody else as well who he tried to make sure that he tried to encourage me to not to get into the whole thing anymore.
You said something that I find very interesting, that you felt like you wanted to take more Molly after the experience, but you were taking an alternative. So you were still a little bit dependent on having that feeling and that high because you still didn't fully understand what was going on, right?
I didn't fully understand what was going on. I didn't feel like I want to take Molly, but I was taking the weight loss pill. I was
Hmm.
taking it for my weight because I was heavier, and I
Hmm.
was taking it to lose weight. And I realized that it made me high. It gave me the same feeling that I got when I did take the Molly. So
Hmm.
I just continued taking them, and but it wasn't, obviously it wasn't as strong as it, you know.
All right, I'm gonna ask a question, and because usually, in Jamaica, I'm going to keep it real with you, especially with
Mhm.
the Obia thing, it would be bad mind. Is it a case where you think it's because of your career, somebody was jealous of you,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? You want to
I
talk about
I
that?
I it's possible. uh,
I mean, I
I
know you're
really,
trying to be tight-lipped. But I
yeah,
get it.
I,
I get it. I get it.
right. I don't want to, but
I, I, I
I
get
am
it.
just happy. I'm just happy that I found God. That's all I'm happy about. And when you said, how is it if I was in and out? How is it I remember, and it just tug on my heart, because I remember the scripture, Romans 8:28, all things work together for good to those who love God, those who are called according to his purpose.
Hmm.
Because I'm very stubborn, me hard to learn. And if I didn't remember, if I didn't go through all the deliverance process, I would go back to my vomit because that's how I usually was. So some things did have to happen to keep me focused and grounded and know that, hey, God's straight. I'm not looking back.
Interesting. Interesting. I want to talk about your transition now and your newfound love and you being a Christian and the type of music that you're doing. But let's go back to the music that you were doing prior to becoming a Christian. You dubbed yourself Psychodol. It's so ironic. Do you feel like you have conjured some spirit might have based on the type of music that you have done and the image that you try to portray? I mean, did you ever sit and think about that? For example, in the Psychodol song, I mean, you were actually, in Bellevue Hospital. So looking at that and I'm saying, I wonder if, it's the law of attraction that is working right there. It could be a
Yeah,
case of
words.
that.
Words are very powerful. We have to be careful what we call ourselves. We have to be very careful.
Mhm.
Because the other day I went to Vauxhall High School and I didn't realize that Bellevue was right across there. And when I passed there, everything came back and I was like, oh, look at this. I called myself Psychodol. I went here and did this song. And later on, me nearly mad.
Right. So this is you in the music video, pretending to be crazy.
Mm,
And it is crazy that, a few years later,
mm,
we are here talking about your experience, your
mhm,
psychosis experience. So and it's very, it's very interesting that you say we have to be careful as to,
mhm,
as to what we put out in the universe.
mm.
Because in this video, what I mean, you were just playing a role, you know,
Exactly.
and it's funny
Mm,
because you could have stayed stuck in this situation
mm.
that you're in. A lot of people, they never find their way back.
True.
They never find their
So
way back.
true.
And it
Mm,
sometimes would lead them to even doing harder drugs, which is more, I think crack cocaine
mhm,
is far more detrimental than this, even
mm,
though I mean it is still a very dangerous, type of drug. But the
mhm,
crack cocaine pretty much turning a zombie, as we would say
mhm.
in Jamaica. You know what I mean? All right, let's talk about your new song now, Testimony. You reveal it
Testimony.
all. You reveal it all. And I
Yeah.
think I want to play a little bit of it as well. But let's talk about that project and what it means to you and what is the reaction from fans and of course friends alike since you've made this transition.
They're gravitating to it. A lot of people. I mean, I get phone calls, people playing it in Canada, on the radio, and I didn't send it out. So, it's an overwhelming feeling to know that people actually love it. These jockeys actually love it and playing it without, me having to give it to them or anything. And a lot of people tell me that I can relate to it so much of what you say I've been through. And yeah, it's a powerful song. That's what they say.
Yeah, it's I mean, when I heard it, I'm like, because first when they told us that, we're gonna interview you on the Wednesday night show, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool, because we usually would rap. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
you and I would usually rap like that, a few years ago and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you had mentioned it to me a few years ago that you actually became a Christian, and I'm like, oh, cool. You know, usually in Jamaica, they say when people want to find themselves or people after losing themselves, that's the time, they see Christ. And sometimes it's good to hit rock bottom
Very good.
because here you are. You know what I mean? I was having a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with my cousin the other day, and we were talking about up on a roller coaster, and we would be at a high,
Mm-hmm.
and we must give thanks. And when we're at our lowest, we're still supposed to give thanks. And he says, sometimes, I feel like I prefer to be at my lowest because that's the time him really and truly find and appreciate things. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
this song is definitely, was made for people who have felt like they want to give up. They've hit
Mm-hmm.
rock bottom.
Yeah.
Feel as if life is over for them. It's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful song. Let's take a listen, guys. Here is Destiny Israel with Testimony.
Father God, you are the best thing ever happened in my life. Paranoid, see too much evil. Friend I kill friend, at your queen them deceive you. But put my trust in a God and no people. Cause all when you're real to them, then sit down and pray you. Last time I put my trust in a man, think him real. It's a actor, big movie scene. Now, when him a text me act like me no see more while me read it and left him on scene. All friends, them throw dirt on my name. My reputation, enough of them try to stay. No much good me do for them. If you ever hear how them style up my name, God take me from a dark place. Did lose all my morals. Encourage girl them for sexually immoral. Trapped in the darkness with demons for so long. But God opened my eyes and give me freedom. Here part a suicide note from massacre, and it bring back some memories when I try subdue. A 2 time I try kill myself and God save me. I saw me know saying true. Jump off a Kingston Harbor, can't swim and couldn't sink. God did determine the purpose of live. So when you see me I worship Jehovah, I true me know the things that me encounter. If me tell you some things, you know that things that my mad think Obi are not real. Them try to make me mad, but in the fire, Father God hold my hand. That's why me worship Him and sing a new song. Not even count the bars in the song. Just a pour out my heart in the song. Me coulda know Jehovah the only Dan. And if you're in doubt, go read Isaiah 41.
All right, there you have it, guys. Freedom testimony. I call it I call it the freedom song. Whenever I'm talking about, I said, "Yo, the freedom song," and it's a very touching song. And I mean, I know you have inspired a lot of people. You have touched many hearts. And thank you so much for being bold enough to tell your story. Because one thing in a Jamaica, mental illness is a thing that we, kind of people on and look down on people on. And the reason why I ask you the question about whether or not your colleagues actually embraced you after all of this, it's good that you still have people to rally around you. But the greatest thing is that you have found the joy in the Lord. Whether you're a Buddhist, you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, whatever. At the end of the day, there's always a higher power and a source that you always have to gravitate to, you always have to depend on, and that's your transition. Your career, though. Hold on, let me welcome Shells. Shells just ran in. Shells act out for the day. Hey, Shells.
Ooh, you're looking beautiful.
Right. Thank you.
Shells got a road to them, man. Shells fine man and got a road to them, man. All right, Shells.
Oh man, it's good to see it. It's always good to. It's like she knows that aura that me just want it rub off for me. If you want to find a center, it's like a center of balance. That's what I see going on for you right there. You look so calm and serene. Keep it right there.
To God be the glory.
Yeah, but I've been listening though. I've been here and I've been watching you guys and listening. It's just that you couldn't see me, but.
Okay.
Yes. So good evening, good night to everybody that is on our social media pages. So.
Would you Destiny, would you still want to go around the friends that you were hanging with when you were experimenting with Molly? And how would you of course it might be a little bit difficult now because it might bring back memory, but would you still hang with those friends? No,
I don't hang out. I don't hang out. But to go around them to minister to them, oh yes, definitely. And I have sent little messages here and there. you know. Mhm.
And of course, you go to church every Sunday or Saturday. Wait, what?
No, I used to go to church every Sunday, but no, I don't really go to church. I just stay home and worship from home.
You sure you're not backslide?
Look for me good. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Never, never, never.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm happy for you. This testimony song is actually your first single since you've transitioned into the.
Official single. I've done songs before
Mhm,
that were released after I got baptized. They were
mhm.
released, but they were songs that I did before the transition.
All right. Okay. Okay. So this is the official song with the born again, the renewed,
Right.
destiny. I still call you Sparta though. I just can't let
You're
that.
used to it because you're
Yeah.
used to it. This one hasn't it not sinking yet, but
I just
hopefully
can't let it
it
go.
does soon.
I just can't let go. Shells, any questions for her because she got to go soon?
I wanted to ask if you would consider using your experience to talk to, young people, especially across the island. Would you go into schools and other um, places, like anywhere persons are gathered and would love for you to speak? Would you speak on it? Because I don't want persons to think that it is just in the corporate areas, because I have heard of cases of it here, of the drug being used here, because I am in Port Antonio,
Mhm.
and I've heard cases of it being used here. I've seen, persons that they refer to as used it, and as you said, maybe there are different types. So you might have the genuine, and you might have the knockoff, and
Mhm.
it seems as if that is the case because some people uses it and nothing happens much,
Mhm.
and then you have those that are now even still to this day walking up and down on the road, still have lost their mind somewhat somehow. So would you?
Funny enough, some ministers reached out to me last week, and I went to Vauxhall High School about 3 days ago to minister to the children. So yeah, God led me in that direction. So yeah.
All right, hold on, Shells. I want to say thanks to all our viewers on Hype TV because we're going to sign out on Hype TV and we're going to be letting Destiny go in just a moment. But I just want to say thanks to all our viewers on Hype TV, How You Picture Entertainment. See you guys next week, same time, same place, for another episode of VAL'S Views Live, the podcast edition. And also see you back on Wednesday for the Entertainment Club with Shelling Shells and the crew. I might be in the building this Wednesday. You never tell. You never can tell. But of course, tonight our show is sponsored by Jamaica Coalition Against Domestic Violence. So thank you guys so much for tuning. Hype TV, How You Picture Entertainment. Peace out. All right. So Shells asked a very important question. So
Mhm.
the first school that you've actually visited is Vauxhall.
Yes.
Is it something that you're gonna get your management team to look into to do like an island one? Because I think it's needed, especially for the teenagers.
Yeah, I should talk to them about it. I
Yeah.
should talk to them about it. But Minister Tennille Rashford, she reached out to me, and she said she has more schools lined up where she
Mhm,
would like me to go along with the whole team. So
mhm.
I will definitely go. But the last at Vauxhall High School, children are going through so much. They are going through so much. It was really an overwhelming experience. Afterwards, they had an altar call because pastors were there as well, and they had an altar call, and so many students came up. The altar was full, and some of them were just
Right.
crying. You we prayed for some of them. Some of them we just have to hold them, hug them, and just let them cry and pour out
Mhm.
whatever it is that they were feeling. And some of them spoke to me afterwards, and they're going through so much. They need a message. They
Yeah.
need this message.
They need deliverance because, you know, a lot of times as teenagers, you know, we have been down that road, you know, 'cause we never born big. And at
Right.
times we are so depressed and we're so
Mm-hmm.
stressed and hurting. And then we would sometimes turn to smoking and drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And you never can tell. And especially, I think part of the message should be about recreational drugs, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
experimenting with all these things to kind of suppress and to deal with whatever stress, you know, and psychological or emotional, you know, issues and situations that you're going through. So it's very good that you're getting this type of exposure and you're connecting, especially with your teenagers,
Mm-hmm.
because as you heard the doctor said in the clip that we played, that is between 16 and 25. That's the age group. That's pretty much the young crop. You know what I mean? And with
Mm-hmm.
the music nowadays, where Pop Marley and everything, I think one time it was lean in Jamaica where they were putting it in liquid form and so on. You know what I mean? So it is, you know, a very serious thing, you know. All right, cool. So I think we've lost her and we were going to wrap with her anyway. Shells, I have a video that I want to play and I think it's very disturbing. No, this is Ivani and a friend plotting something that I find very disturbing. Viewers, take a look at this.
I want to eat some food, people, and take them out. See that? Go put one of money in the ocean too. Yeah. I'll make him first. Get. Drinking juice, so yes, I put in the store. No, but suppose the go put in there and then afterwards you don't remember which one. Me, are you drinking? I never remember when me I take my drinks right now, put over here, so. Take mine too. Oh, now, remember. I will try. I want to try and give it up. I think to put in a juice. You want to have it? And the juice does acid. The juice is acid. Oh, no. Make him drink off the juice. He say, what do you? And they will just see how him react. And then after we see him react, then now we take food. Tomorrow. No, we take food tonight, but we are giving film first. You say? No, country would do what? When they go do that, sure would do what? As Ocean come at him say that plan for 2 times and just to see and change the mind of that talk. No, I can't do it. If you do it, I'll make it melt in there. Man for be man and strong and can bear anything come his way. You know, say I set up. I set up, you know.
This very disturbing, Shells.
And you know, that's the norm for a lot of persons that actually have friends.
And get
It
hooked
is the
on
norm. It is the norm.
How you as a friend sit down and a plan with an ex-friend for spike somebody drink for put Molly in your friend drink for see the reaction for laugh.
But we have to pay attention to them something because from we born and have sense, we have been told and we hear like me and you personally, not trust nobody. When I go out, is one friend me go out with, I mean trust her with my life. Like I will leave my drink with her. No, I don't care who the man or woman. I am not leaving. I will take my drink to the bathroom and have it in the bathroom with me. To how serious I am about the people that I got because they don't know if what they're gonna do to him will kill him or kill his friend to the point where he gets off his rockers and never come back.
See, Anthony said there. And the same thing we said to the first time I said, yo, what if them put it in the youth drink? Whether they were joking or not. But let's say them really serious because it looked like said the mother do it.
And then when it's mixed with alcohol, it's obvious that it has even a greater effect. than being taken by itself from what I've been seeing and observing and reading about. Is that when it is consumed with alcohol, you're the man. You see?
It's crazy.
And it's a pity that they weren't locked up. Like, some investigation weren't done, because these days people think it's okay to video everything and put it on social media. These are the persons who are influencing innocent children who has no wish to be exposed to these things. These are the influencers. Unfortunately, these are the people that have influence on our children. Unfortunately. Same way them could have still a plan for poison him, Andrew, in a real life,
She's a real thing. I mean, I am so like, I mean, all right, you know what? She took it on her live, I think, and show when it kicked in and the effects of it, and it was just crazy, and they think it's fun. And these are not kids. I mean, she's a young adult. Yes, she's in her 20s, early 20s. But come on. Like, you have been through so much. I understand. And this is why I even said to Destiny that a lot of kids, they have gone through so much that they're psychologically. I mean, I probably can't cuss because I come off here now. You know what I'm saying? Them effed up because of whatever happened to them psychologically. And there is nobody around her. Let me not say that. But there is no great influence, I think, around her. They might have encouraged her to seek counseling, to get help, and she probably just don't want to take that. So it's fun to her. Frag always say, what is joke to you is dead to me. Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted.
Oh, my bad. I was just saying, because my background, there wasn't one person there that was saying, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Well, the guy was kind of trying to cop out. The guy at the end was copping out, and he was not
strong enough.
That's it. Let us do it together. And then she gave him a look, and then she influenced again. Then he go, all right, me I go do it.
The part that is concerning too is when she say a man for be a man. And take whatever come to him. I hope.
Yeah. So when the drugs start kicking, you're supposed to be a man.
True, Anthony. That's so true, Anthony.
I can't believe this. Anthony says that, Shells, I understand your friend comment, but the issue with this generation is that they love attention. They are so addicted to attention that we will do anything to be seen.
For real?
Of course, because she did it on the live. I think she was just trying to do it to create some form of good content and try to
they
go
have
viral.
No fear. They have no fear. They're fearless. They're not fearful of jail or prison or any kind. Oh, I can't go spend 2 months in a jail. That's like adding to my repertoire. I just put that on my resume and move on, because spending 2 months in jail is nothing.
Yo, listen to me. This is actually an illegal substance. It is illegal.
That was what I was gonna talk about. How them get in the country and they're sold everywhere. Don't you dare think that it's just localized to one and few people.
Exactly. I mean, Destiny didn't want to reveal where she get it and who gave it to her. And it's not our business to try and pry, because it is not here to call out who gave it to her. But the most important thing is that she has experienced something that she will never repeat. Well, according to what she says, she wouldn't want to repeat that. Going through experiencing a psychosis, you know how serious that is. Jumping off a Kingston Harbor. Voices telling her to walk out in the street and make her car down. You know how crazy that is? And then they take it now and joke around it. She actually show it up in the camera. The packet, she show it up. So I know something where them are afraid of. And back in the day, when we used to see, people who use crack, we used to, it was a shame thing. And the artists them used to sing and lick out against it. But it was a thing. It was a thing. So we're not gonna pretend like, there isn't a drug problem in Jamaica. There's always been a drug problem, especially.
Most of the time, you just hear about it.
But
I'm
that me, I
a
get
grown adult, and I've never seen crack or cocaine. I've never seen hard drugs in person.
I have seen it. I've seen the pipe. I've seen the reaction from people who take it. But that's when we get older. As a kid, I never know what it was. I never know what it was.
I think once somebody showed me something and said that was it. I couldn't tell.
See? All right. But
nowadays, the person had a pack of thing and said that was it. I couldn't tell. But I have never had friends who uses those things or would show me those things. Some of the pills, I would see them being sold in like if you go to certain bars and so forth, you'll see some pills and they say these pills, this ecstasy, this is do what and this whatever. But me can tell you, say they don't know. Like, is that I have seen throughout my nursing career so many young men who have lost their minds because them friend season spliff give them.
Right.
Their friends. You say who? Their friends season spliff give them, and they never came back. Never. Their mind went, and it never come back.
It's crazy.
Them one friend.
That is absolutely.
But nobody talks about these things because some things are being normalized. Just like what I would call careless sex. And the thing with them ensure like those things, like private things that people would do inside their bedrooms, and because moral standards were high and people, certain things were kept private. It's the same thing with these drugs and guns and scamming. All those things are just out there, and people think that it is okay and it's normal to sing and talk and video and take pictures of all of these things. They want to normalize all of these things.
You are absolutely right, because back in the day when snorting cocaine or smoking hard drugs was a thing, as much as we might not want to admit it, it was a thing. It was a culture. It was a trend in Jamaica. A lot of us had uncles and dads and neighbors who partake in it. The thing is, it was done in a more discreet manner, in a discreet way. You will see the reactions or the effects of it because you say the man they are crackhead and him probably would have thief out him mother last dollar and go thief off man ackee and mangoes and sell just to feed and to kind of get to buy the crack. Artists, music used to hit out against it, not encouraging it. But in this day and age, Shells, Skeng, in the song with him and Skilly Bang, Skeng again in the song with him and a youth named Navas. And then we hear that the youth they name Intense sing about it in a Yahoo song. When Molly get popped, the whole place flat, blah, 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 whatever, pop Molly in music videos. You see them have like, might as well know them just start set up a line and them start snort the coke too and come with the hard rock and start cut up and put on them weed and all that and smoke it too and put on the pipe and burn it because that's where it's at right now. Nobody is saying, yo, too enough is enough or let's not cross the line. And I mean, we might want to go at it. Ivani par with Tommy Lee. Not Skilly and sorry, my bad. Not that I mentioned the Tommy Lee. I wanted to mention that. Not Skilly and Skeng. So I take that back. My apologies. The Sparta bad man. Hey boy! No. I think Tommy Lee and him do that song there. Yes, Skeng and Tommy Lee. Right. I'm saying Skeng. All right. So Ivani par with Tommy Lee. And she always big up Tommy Lee. So could she have gotten it there? Could it be that it's in one circle and it's just a big thing? Because hey, let's put one and two together.
I'm gonna tell you a little. Well, I'm gonna tell you what I heard. Not that I know. Is that I have heard persons said they have friends who are coming down from abroad and they bring it with them because when they come to Jamaica, they want to have a ball of a time. So they bring them thing and then come and share it with them friends. Like can't come from anywhere. can come from anywhere. These are some of these things that Andrea can walk in a one normal bar and get them, just like some sex enhancing pills too. You go in at the bar and you see them hang up in there like how them little have peanuts and them something they hang up in bars. You see the pills there in front of you, right beside the condoms. Right? They are everywhere. Everywhere. They are everywhere and they're easily and readily accessible by our children. Remember the last gathering thing, the story with the youth was the other one for the gathering story?
Mm-hmm.
That's when you heard about all the drugs being used in school and sold. There was a thing about some boys who was even selling weed in a school. Like,
Yeah.
it's a thing. It has infiltrated our schools. And we're not talking about high schools alone. Primary school children know about these things. So you sending your innocent child to school and then you're going to have friends like Ivan, they will sit down and decide so they're going to pop a pill, get them. Because once they get them hooked to it, them know they'll be able to keep giving them, selling them more.
I mean, listen, a little bit of disclaimer still, because even Shaki said, and I don't want people to misunderstand me, I'm saying I am being very frank. Destiny Sparta was a part of that group. A member of that group sang a song with Skeng about that. He didn't say it, but it was Skeng part that says it. Then Ivani always talk about being a part of that group. So I'm just saying, could it be a case where that group partake in this? I don't know. Could it be a case where, as we would have a white rum group and an Appleton group and a Cure Herbs group, because we used to have that, a little bit a Fire Key group. I'm on the Bun Chalice and a massive there. All them focus on just smoking chalice, no spliff. I have an next group, we just focus on smoking spliff. So what I'm saying is, is it a thing like that in the industry right now where you have cliques and they focus on a particular, thing and whatever. So
I wouldn't say that, Andrew. What I would say, as I said before, it's readily available to everybody. And from what I have observed is that when persons are going to parties these days, then they have their new drug of choice, Molly, which has been on the American market for quite a while. I guess it's just pretty new to Jamaica. You understand?
No, hold on, but that's why I say, Shells, it's not new, because close to 20 years ago, I was introduced to the ecstasy.
No, Molly, I'm talking about Molly, the Molly.
Well, okay.
So I'm saying it's not new, but I think it's pretty new in Jamaica, meaning it's taking over the market
12 years ago, maybe 10, 12 years ago, Molly was introduced because according to Destiny, she said that, she said she started, she said she started like 2015, 2016, around about there, she was introduced to it. And I think it's been around a little longer than that.
But it's just now taking the market because the influencers are singing about it and it's okay. And I've heard and seen cases of it abroad. Never heard and seen cases of it in Jamaica. But you can imagine that a lot of these people that we're seeing not acting right, and when things happen in a party space, sometimes you wonder what could have caused it. But I guess it is now being popularized so much so that they are normalizing it in the party space. So once you got a party, you have to have a Molly or two, obviously.
What's that fluid where them claim say a few years ago the bad man them used to take and go kill people? There's some liquid, some fluid them used to train them drink, some embalming fluid or something like that.
Embalming fluid?
Yeah,
because they were saying that it have some psychedelic effect too.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy how we are endorsing, taking drugs or taking any form of enhancing substance and make it a big thing. I mean, of course, a man drink to catch a vibe, so me not judge nobody. But what I'm talking about is the effects of it, though, and how dangerous it is. Come on, I'll call you a crackhead. I'm not gonna say burn that and you're the scum of the earth. No, I'm not. Because as kids, we do experiment with a lot of things. I mean, I've never tried crack. I've never tried cocaine in its, purest form. I've never done that. But me drink, me smoke herbs, me do cigarette, you know what I mean? We do all of that, which, you know, I mean, a lot of people would still like, hey, you drink and you smoke and you do herbs. But I mean, like, how far is too far? I would never see crack and try it because I know the effects of it. Is it where I come from? Me never start coke because me know the
From when you know the effects. Did you know it when you were young?
Yeah, because we see how people who take it, how they would behave and how they would look, and how
But
people would
but
treat
you
them.
can't say you wouldn't take it, Andrew, because just like how Ivani and our friend them sit on a plan to give the friend. That's how a lot of people.
Don't
That's what
misunderstand me.
that's how a lot of
I
people
would no.
start.
I never say I can't get catch. I said I wouldn't intentionally take it.
No,
That's what I
you
meant.
just
I
use it
wouldn't use it.
intentionally. No, that's what I'm saying. You know, you have to straighten up the thing. If you say
But me
I
wouldn't take
wouldn't,
it.
not
But yeah,
knowingly.
that's what I meant. No, I wouldn't take it. That's what I meant. Me not go take it. Me
After you get
never
the
said
first dose, then I take the second and third and fourth dose though. And I think that's how a lot of people get started, you know, Andrew.
Go on
All
your
right,
bed.
Billman. Just
Go on your
Billman,
bed.
me know something serious you're talking.
Go on your
But
bed.
all right, in all seriousness, you have a channel on YouTube that I watch. I can mention it, Andrew. I think it named Deep Underbelly or something like that, where he does a lot of interviews with prostitutes and drug addicts and people like that. And you would be surprised to know that most of the persons who started, family members and close friends, started them on drugs. They were going about their good life, living to the best of their abilities. And their friends and family, people close to them, started them on drugs and they can't get off of it. They can't get off of it. Now, the thing about it is, when our children and our young people per se are informed, then more than likely they will make better decisions because they'll make informed decisions. Now, when you check the social media pages and you go on, whether it's radio or TV, but those media houses that are even in the newspaper, you don't see ads that talk about drugs. You don't see videos like reenactment of videos of persons who take these drugs and how it made them act. You don't see people who have lost everything in life and is now living on the street because they are drug addicts. You don't see those things being put out there to inform persons as to what drugs will do to you. And that is why when somebody who is considered influential or an artist, whoever the influencer is that comes out and say it is okay to take this and take that and drink this and drink that, then of course they're going to do it because here is Andrew standing in front of me and he sounds perfectly fine and he says he takes Molly. I'm going to try it because me say Andrew status them last night when he did that one party down at Mobile and he was having a good time. I see that. I don't see the information that's going to make me make informed decisions.
Shells.
Yeah?
Tell them that's not real, okay?
Fictitious.
All right.
Fictitious. So not already, like, we have to explain.
No, because I will look at me say me never take drugs. I tell me say about what is money give? That are two different things. Telling people and say not real. All right. Yeah. But it is important that we pretty much act on what you just suggested. That we need influencers to talk against it, just like back in the 80s and the 90s. When people like Professor Nuts, even though Professor Nuts was, I think, joking about it, people like Shined, when him said, no, give me no crack, no, give me that. Them used to beat Ninja Man bad with it. You know what I mean? It was rumored that Ninja Man and Gregory Isaacs, even Gregory Isaacs sang when him say, Night Nurse. It sounded like Gregory was singing about it, but do we know if Gregory was singing about it or not? But people said that. A lot of entertainers back in the day used to experiment with crack cocaine and even the powdered version as well. Because I never understand what crack was in a shells until I got older. I never know say crack was the watered down, like how the molly is the watered down and mixed with all sort of other stuff with baking soda and all of them something. I never know that was crack. And I used to wonder, why is it that, say this man, you hear about a foreign entertainer who is a cokehead, so to speak, who uses, who snort cocaine, and he doesn't look like the one in Jamaica. In my, understanding as a kid, how the two of them not look the same? And a man say, well, because he had money to actually upkeep himself, but it still not make them look a certain way. Even Shaki said to me the other day that you can know a retired cokehead or a crackhead because there's something about them, either them teeth or their mouth or something about them that physically shows that they used to. And a lot of entertainers, when you look at them, you're wondering, like, for real, were they really on it? But the thing is, though, compared to then and now, then you have to hide it because it was a shame thing. You're gonna lick your coke pipe around this one and hide, but no, shares, as you say, it in the song. Look on the song with Skeng. And speaking of Skeng, look at the craziness that go on a Guyana the other night, or last night, as a matter of fact. The man in the party. I mean, you see, so I feel like there's a demon. There's some traveling.
If the account of what happened in the airport went as the voice message said, then it begs to wonder, why are you behaving? There's a voice message circulating of allegedly of a staff at the airport that was there when he was misbehaving over a bleaching cream. You hear?
Yeah, I did hear about the bleaching cream thing, right? Mm-hmm.
Right. So his behavior was described in the voice message, and I'm saying if it is true, then it would beg to wonder, why is your behavior so erratic? Why are you behaving in that manner? If you were asked to do something that is considered normal protocol for everybody, sometimes people going through airport, they take off them shoes and everything and go through. And it is protocol that you don't do this and you don't do
say
that.
Huh? Don't say that. Don't say that. The protocol word. Say no pun intended.
No pun intended.
A skeng thing that, A skeng thing that. But Guyana have for them own, as a country, they have their own demons to, face. And it obviously, when this man was on stage, a bridging in the crowd fire off a few rounds. And I'm not sure if that's what led to the stampede, but there was a stampede and the aftermath was crazy. And then they're trying to blame Skeng for that. But I wouldn't blame him to say, okay, it's his fault. But Shells is what kind of energy you have a follow you. And that's the problem. It's the energy where you have a follow you. Because you are going to tell people, say, yo, pop molly and shoot people and kill them and, business and intellectual murder people edition, all of that. And, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you're not only an endorse taking drugs, but you're endorsing taking people's lives. So it's like a double whammy right there, so. As bad as thing be when, Bounty Killer and Vibes Cartel and Cobra and all them other artists and Ninja Man. And of course, back in the day, they used to say it is art that imitates life. So they're just pretty much replicating what is being out there in the space. But it look like two of them youth here, I use life to imitate art. In the video with him and the youth, did you see the young lady with the capsule in the video on her tongue? And she has swallowed it, and they have the bag with the whole heap of capsule, them and all of that. Like, I've never seen it like that before.
I don't consume certain things, I swear.
Well, I saw it because I was researching for this particular episode, and I'll be very honest with you. I saw it because of that. I Google it and I say, yo, which dancehall artist sing Bob Marley? And it popped up. And I'm like,
okay.
All right, cool. Yeah, it did it. Because articles were in. Even Popcorn, I think, was hitting out, and a few other artists were hitting out against them for openly, singing and endorsing this type of thing. Straight up. So it is the equivalent of having a 90s or 80s crackhead, in my opinion. It's equivalent to that. We have 2 hours, two more minutes left, Shells, before we wrap this. Thank you guys so much for participating. And Oh boy, I don't know.
Well,
Shiz, but
I
I
must
just
take the minute that is left to say that a lot of times we can talk, but if we can take a moment to educate our children, then we can educate our children's friends too. And we are the ones who consume most of the what is going on now, especially in the social media space. Because when you go on those type of content, you realize that they are the ones who get the millions and the hundreds and thousand
some
views
views.
because of the content. So the consumers often dictate what goes out there. And sometimes if we report some of these things and say that we find them offensive, then of course they will be removed regardless of what anybody else want to think. Sometimes they will remove them. So we have different ways in which we can help to purify the space of those that we have access to, the young people that we have access to. We can try. I don't think all is lost, and we can try to stabilize it.
I I I I I definitely agree, but I want to play this video before we go, and I think it's very interesting that we play this video right here. So just in case y'all want to try it, just bear this in mind when you do.
Estimated 2 million pills being smuggled into the US every day, and 1/3 of students at universities like Stanford saying they've tried it. MDMA, or Molly, has become a popular drug of choice. But what exactly is it, and how does it affect your body? Scientifically known as 3,4-methylene dioxy and methamphetamine, MDMA is usually taken in pill form and supposed to be composed of the pure chemical. Ecstasy, on the other hand, is the term for MDMA, which has been chemically altered with other additives like amphetamine or caffeine. In its pure form, MDMA affects the neurotransmitters in your brain. Neurotransmitters are chemicals in your body which relay messages while also controlling things such as reflexes, emotion, and memory. In particular, the neurotransmitter called serotonin controls appetite, sleep, memory, learning, and in this case, mood. When something really great happens in your life, say you fall in love, there's an increase in the release of serotonin from nerve cells, which ultimately stimulates your body and makes you feel happy. And it just so happens that when you take effective amounts of MDMA, these same cells are triggered to release enormous amounts of serotonin, along with other neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine, which trigger even more electrochemical firing in the brain. This change creates the intense experience of happiness, feeling social, increased empathy, and the inability to sleep, which is likely why it's such a popular party drug. These feelings generally last around 3 to 8 hours as your brain cells naturally work to reuptake the serotonin and have it chemically destroyed. But because MDMA releases so much serotonin, your body also destroys more than usual. This means when your brain function is back in its normal state, there is less serotonin available to bind to your receptors and make you feel good with normal events. This can also lead to a fairly severe hangover with side effects such as negative mood, spouts of depression, irritability, and feeling extra tired. Despite the negative effects, MDMA is being studied as a potential therapy for post-traumatic stress disorder and anxiety. PTSD patients generally have a decrease in brain communication between the amygdala and the hippocampus, but MRI analysis has shown that MDMA actually increases the communication in these regions. However, this treatment remains fairly controversial as studies on rats and monkeys have shown that even small amounts of MDMA can not only destroy the endings of brain cells involved in the release of serotonin, but potentially cause permanent brain damage. If you haven't already seen it, we have a new video on the science of taste where we suffer through a taste challenge to show you just how complex eating.
All right, I don't care about you tasting nothing, boss. Thank you for the information, though. But so Shells, you see, as you know, in the beginning of the program, we had played a video of a doctor saying that it gives you a high, and it gives you a euphoric type of energy and a vibe. And I think a lot of times, the teenagers will find this to be their choice of drug because it gives them that vibe and it gives them that energy. But it has, some side effects that are just not safe, the adverse effects of it. And that's the part that, because nothing is wrong with feeling happy or feeling good. Because when you smoke herbs, it gives you a good feeling as well. When you drink, the only thing I realized that if you smoke cigarette, it doesn't give you that feeling. I mean, it might have kind of soothed that addiction that you have, that you're fiending for the caffeine. But that's just about it. But when you smoke herbs, it gives you a vibe. and it alters your quote unquote reality. But what is the side effect of herbs? You know what I mean? Laziness, I don't know. Loss of memory, I don't know. Gives you a very wide appetite, I don't know. When you drink, you can't drive because then your senses and your, um, judgment becomes a little bit, cloudy, and you make very, bad decisions. I don't know. But I'm not beating down anyone who wants to experiment with this, but just know, say, you might go crazy. You might have a heart attack. You might have a brain bleed. You might just die. You know what I mean? Too much of one thing is never good. So imagine you being high for 3 to 8 hours, and then as soon as you come down off that high, you want to get high again. And I think that's what's creating the problem. And I think that's what happened to Destiny Israel as well, because she said she was just popping pills after pills after pills after pills after pills after pills, and she just go crazy. So guys, investigate in terms of your children. If you have teenagers, have the talk with them, because as Cheryl say, it might not be that they choose to take it, but friends, peer pressure. Friends might slip it into them drinks. The greatest thing is that nobody can slip weed, Gio, unless it's seasoned weed, and that's another thing too. So she'll say, you know, enough people will smoke weed and get catch. I mean, I chain smoke. In terms of cipher, yeah, we puff past spliff and we do it in a chalice. But hey, I mean, you can't trust people, but I risk it. You know what I mean? And trust the people around us. You know, so the man didn't take drugs or would add drugs to it, but at the end of the day, people have to educate ourselves. You know, we're out of time. I wish we could have gone longer. Shells, thank you so much. Thank you. First, you're absolutely right. First, the him thing said depressed people pop Molly. That too. I mean, depressed people drink, depressed people smoke weed. So I wouldn't say that it's just, you know, Molly alone and pop. But I think, you know, for some people, when they're going through a phase, you know, they always try to escape reality through, you know, enhancements such as drugs or alcohol or anything that will just take them away. You know, big up on yourself. Thank you.
Anybody can pop Molly. We have to bear in mind that human beings always have this need to feel higher and higher and better and better. And that's why they chase that kind of feeling. It's just a feeling. Once you get it, you're always going to want to have it. And no matter what you have to do to get it, you will do what you have to do to get it. And that's just reality, whether you're depressed or not, whether you have mental issues or not. Thank you so much, Andrew. Thanks to everybody that stopped in. Thanks for the feedback.
Good to see you.
And thanks to Destiny. I will continue to follow her, and I pray and encourage her to continue on her journey, and thank her for sharing her journey. I hope it will inspire others as well as teach others from her testimony. And go listen to the song, like it, share it with somebody that you think might need to hear the words. All right, people, you take care.
All right, Shells. Walk good. Peace. Cool. All right, cool. This episode of VAL'S Live was brought to you by Jamaica Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Remember, you can call them. You can call their helpline at 1-800-598-7607. And in recognition of Child's Month, they want to say, please listen up to the children, because the children's voices matter.
This episode is sponsored by the Jamaica Coalition Against Domestic Violence. A special message from JCADV in recognition of Child Month 2022, a proud sponsor of VAL'S Live podcast. This episode is sponsored by the Jamaica Coalition Against Domestic Violence.
I'm mad you want mad me here today?
No, mommy.
Watch me, I am fed up of you. I bet me kill you in here before you kill me. You're coming like you. Stop that people yard. Me tired of you now. Me tired of you. Awful man.
Dear Mama, I understand that you hit me because you are frustrated and because of what I do. Please remember that I have feelings, and as a kid, I do get frustrated too.
A special message from JCADV in recognition of Child Month 2022, a proud sponsor of VAL'S Life podcast.
Welcome to VAL'S Life podcast. Real news, real talk, real views. Join us weekly for social, political, and religious commentaries, analytically dissecting viral news and more. When they mix it, we'll fix it. Unorthodox and unfiltered views. This is VAL'S Live, the podcast edition. Saturdays, 7 p.m. Watch it live in Jamaica on Hype TV and across the Caribbean. Stream it live on Facebook, YouTube. Don't miss it.